Philip, when, where and how did you get to meet the Rolling Stones back in 1963?
Well, in 1961, when I was 20, I was in the south of France for Tatler magazine, which is a society magazine, or was then. It's not so much now, and now it's just celebrated its 300th anniversary. And I was sitting in Monte Carlo photographing all the people who were down there, like Maria Callas and Somerset Maugham, people like that. And into the square outside the casino came this lad who was 18. And to cut a long story short, it was Andrew Loog Oldham. He stole them from another guy who thought he was going to manage them, but he put a better deal, even though he had no money. And he said, I'm going to find a rock and roll band. He got that wrong, but there was only rock and roll in those days. He said, I'm going to find a rock and roll band and I'm going to turn them into the greatest rock and roll band in the world. About a year later, he rang me and he said, I found them. So I said, found what? So he said, I'm going to found this band and I'm going to turn into the greatest rock and roll band in the world. He said, I signed the contract yesterday, and will you come and photograph them on Friday? So I photographed them on Friday, and this is one of the shots, which was taken at Marble Arch. And they were used to get them the contract at Decca. And then I did all the sessions in 1963, which may surprise some other photographers who claimed that they did them. But I was, without doubt, the very first photographer.
You also told me that you attended the very first gigs. What were they like, their first Rolling Stones concert?
Oh yeah, I went to all the first ones. From being on Eel-Pie Island and the various places that they had played in down in southwest London, they had built up a fan base, if you can call it that. And the first time that they played at Studio 51, which was about 2 weeks after signing up, there was uproar from the fans. They just loved them. I attended the very first recording of the first tune, which was Come On, at Olympic Sound, but unfortunately I forgot my camera.
Who was the most enigmatic or charismatic of the Stones?
I think the most charismatic Stone was Brian Jones.
Who sadly died in 1969.
Who sadly died in 1969, being found dead in the swimming pool. And Andrew was the genius who put them together. Without Andrew, I always say that they would have been the Rolling Who's. It's got to be said that Brian put them together in the first place. They hadn't played together until he found Mick and Keith. He already had the drummer. Bill Wyman was around at the time too, so they had all that lot. But those two, but they hadn't got Mick and Keith, and that Mick and Keith really, it's got to be agreed, made the band. But they were musicians and not very charismatic. I realised they were going to be that big at the time because Andrew told me they were. And Andrew was such an outgoing genius that I believed everything he said. When he said, come and take the pictures, we haven't got any money, you can do what you like with the pictures because they're going to be the biggest rock and roll band in the world, so they might be worth some money one day, and just give me what I want. And that's what I did, and it turned out quite well in the end. My favourite picture is this one at Marble Arch. Most of the prints in this selection were taken in Chelsea. They're the ones sitting on a wall by the Thames, where they're standing on the bridge and standing out 113 Cheney Walk, which is quite a well-known one, and the Australian public house, which no longer exists anymore. That is the best-selling one. In the 60s, you try and sell a picture like that, you wouldn't get away with it because it's just, well, why have you got a car in it? You've ruined the picture. But now, that's what people want.
And can you tell me anything about the prints?
They are silver bromide prints. They are done by the old method of being exposed and then stuck in chemicals and then dried. They shouldn't be dried in a machine, because if you dry them in a machine, they go 10% darker. They come in limited editions of 50. People say, well, what am I going to do when I run out? Well, I'm 69 now, so probably that won't be much of a problem. And anyway, I've still got a lot that we haven't used.
How many pictures of the stones did you make altogether?
About 300, of which probably 180 are usable.
But you also happened to be around one of the first Beatle gatherings with the Maharishi Yogi.
I did the very first time that they met with the Maharishi, which was at the Meditation Centre in Abbotsbury Road in Kensington. If you look at the picture closely, it's very interesting because you can see all the different expressions. The very first time they were all together. Shortly they will be available at Vips in Amsterdam.
Thanks very much, and well, good luck on the fair.